Hey guys, it's 3 the Master of Sonic, and today I'll be attempting to show you guys how to integrate music into Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Okay, the process is pretty lengthy. It requires a lot of steps. I'm gonna try my hardest to condense it within a 20-minute long video. But knowing me, it's probably gonna be longer than that, so just bear with me here, okay? And most of this stuff I haven't delved into in a long time because I've been doing this for like about a year and a half. So a lot of things are going to be very foreign to me in terms of how to get these things set up. But just bear with me and hopefully, it'll work out for you guys too. So first thing you're going to need is Wwise. Wwise is basically the sound program that Spyro Reignited uses within the game, within Unreal Engine, and that's how they get their music files in there. Okay, so what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna go to Wwise's website. Okay, it's audiokinetic.com, and honestly, if you just search up in Google Audiokinetic Wwise, it'll take you to this page. If you just scroll all the way down, it'll be right here. Okay, so you guys are gonna have to make an account for this. It's the only way to get the current versions and to choose which versions of Wwise you want, because you will need a specific version of Wwise in order for this to work. Okay, so just make that account, hit download here, and once you guys finish with that, you should have a Wwise launcher, which is I have it on the bottom left here, and it'll open up to this. Okay, so from here, the first thing you want to go to is let me see. If you go to Wwise, this tab right here, you need to make sure that the version you have installed is this version. Okay, it's 2017.2.10.6745. Okay, this is the version that was used in Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So if you don't have this version, chances are it won't work. Okay, so I can't remember exactly how I got it to this version, if I'm being honest. I think it had to do with like searching through all the versions here, and then like choosing this and then choosing this version and other stuff like that. So yeah, so just look through the versions available, and it has to be this one. Okay, if you guys can't find it, I'm sorry. I can't for the life of me remember how I got to this version, but as long as you get to this version, then you're good to go. Okay, so once you get that version installed, we're gonna need to basically integrate Wwise with an Unreal Engine project. Okay, so what you'll need is Unreal Engine. Okay, so the only way to get Unreal Engine at the moment, at least from what I know anyway, is to download the Epic Game Store launcher. For those of you that are Steam only users, I apologize. You're going to download another launcher to your PC in order for this to work. But yeah, so download Epic Games launcher from the Epic Games website, and it should bring you to the main page and stuff. Okay, so on the left here, there should be a section that says Unreal Engine. Okay, and then from here you can download the program itself, and that's pretty crazy, honestly. The fact that we can all use Unreal Engine to basically make whatever we want, as long as we're really good at it, like, I don't know, it's pretty cool. So the only thing is, guys, you need 4.19.2. This is the version that Spyro Reignited used, and yeah, I mean, that's it, really. Like, if it's any other version other than this is not going to work, period. Okay, that's also the reason why we needed this version of Wwise, because this is the version of Wwise that's compatible with this version of Unreal Engine. Okay, so both the Wwise version and the Unreal Engine have to be compatible with each other. Okay, so this is the version that's compatible with 4.19.2. So make sure you guys get this version for Wwise for it to work. Okay, so downloading Unreal Engine takes an ungodly amount of time, so just be patient. Okay, it's gonna download a lot of stuff. For me, I think it took like 3 hours or something. I can't remember exactly how long it took, but it was a long time. Okay, so just be patient with that, and then you guys should be fine. But in this scenario, once you get it installed, you're gonna go ahead and, well, launch it, right? I think the first time you launch it, it's gonna ask you to make a project. Just name it whatever you want, and just choose the blank project. Basically, it's like the first option, right? Let me open one of mine here just so you guys can see it. Once I open this up, it's going to be pre-organized. It's going to have a lot of stuff, and you're going to be like, whoa, that's a lot of information, right? So don't worry about it. I'm going to hopefully go through it step by step. That way you guys know what to do. But once you get into Unreal Engine and you make a project name, you open it, you're not going to have all of this that I have on the left side here. You're going to have just content and I think starter content, and that's it. Okay, so in order to get Wwise audio and sound content in here, we're gonna have to integrate this project with the version of Wwise that we currently have. So in order to do that, what you're gonna do is you're gonna save your project and then just exit out of Unreal Engine. Okay. Once you would do that, let me go ahead and exit here. That way I can show you guys. Once you do that, you're gonna go back into your Wwise launcher, and then from here go to where it says Unreal Engine, and then click this drop down, hit refresh page, and your project should show up. Once it shows up, it's gonna say Unreal 4.19, and it's gonna say the version that it's in. And then what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna hit integrate Wwise into project, and basically that'll do what it says. It's gonna integrate Wwise into project. It'll be compatible with it, and from there, anything that we make in Wwise will be integrated directly with that project. Okay, and that's the only way this is gonna work. Okay, they have to be integrated with each other. Otherwise, it won't make the assets necessary for this to work. There is a video that I watched. My first time ever doing this that really helped. I'm gonna link that in the description just so you guys can have that, because I think that video does a better job of explaining exactly how the integration process works between Unreal Engine and Wwise. So watch that video and then just follow the step-by-step guide, and just make sure that the Wwise version you guys have is the one that I was talking about here. But yeah, that video does a better job of explaining that integration thing. Okay, so yeah, like I said, once you refresh the page here, it should show your project. Click on integrate Wwise into project, and then once it's finished, once you open up your project again from the Unreal Engine, it should now show those essential folders needed from Wwise. Okay, so it's no longer just gonna have the starter content. It's gonna have the right here, sound content, Wwise content, all that good stuff. Okay, so now you're probably wondering what all these folders are. And it's a lot. Okay, and I know it's kind of intimidating, but technically speaking, you don't need all this. Okay, and I'm gonna explain in a second why. We're not gonna get to Unreal Engine until I explain a few things about Wwise first, so we're gonna save this little tidbit for later. Okay, for now, we're gonna go back into the Wwise and open this new project. Now, obviously, to get to this project, you're gonna have to open it through the right here, where you integrated the Wwise project. You're just gonna click on open in Wwise version whatever, right? You click on that, it'll open up this project, and it's not gonna look as complicated as this. Okay, so make sure your layout is set to designer, and make sure that you're able to see this left section here with all these tabs. If you don't see it, then your screen's probably like crunched a bit, so you're gonna have to like expand these a little bit. I just had a scenario where I tried opening this project and everything was like crunched and I didn't know where anything was. So if you guys end up having that, just look for the little up and down arrow thing and try to expand everything, right? So but by default, this is what it's supposed to look like. Okay, make sure that it's on designer tab. So from here, what you're going to want to do is any song that you want to use, you're going to need to generate a sound font for it. Okay, this is called sound effects. Okay, so where it says actor mixture hierarchy, you click on that real quick, and then you click on create new sound, and it's gonna make a new sound here. By default, once you add it, you're gonna have to name it something. Okay, so honestly, you can name it whatever you want. This is just where your audio file is gonna be contained in, basically, or whatever music track that you have is gonna be contained within this little sound bank thing. Okay, so just name it what you want. It's going to be in red, which means that you haven't selected your music file for it. Okay, so once you've made that new sound effects, you're going to right click it, you're going to click on import audio files, and then from here you're going to hit add files, and you're going to find your file, your music file that you want to integrate into the game. The thing with this is it has to be a .wav format. Okay, so if you have an MP3 or a .m4a or whatever it is, it's not going to work. It has to be .wav. If you guys are wondering what kind of converter you can use for that, there's a converter called Any Video. I'm not sure what I have it. Any converter? Yeah, here you go. Any audio converter. Just look for it on the internet. It looks like this. I don't know if the new version has a different logo or whatever, but this is the one I've always used, and it works in like 2 seconds. It'll convert all of your MP3 files into .wav. Okay, so that's what that's called. So once you have all your WAV files, just click on the song that you want to integrate, and then hit open, and then once you do that, just hit import on the bottom right here, and this red, the default red color will change to blue, and that means that there's now a sound file associated with that sound bank that you just made. That's it for that step. Okay, so just make sure that you guys add the audio file by right clicking and then importing those audio files in there. So now that we have our song, or our sound file, sound FX, right? We're gonna need to make an event for it. Okay, so go to Events tab here, and then from here, this is where it gets tricky. Okay, so the way Reignited works with its music files is that they need to be in a certain file format. Okay, because if you were to take the Spyro Reignited and extract all of the game's contents, everything is labeled within different folder directories, and if we want to change the music within the game, we have to copy that exact same file structure as the game itself in order for it to recognize that and then change it to whatever music file you want, basically. Okay, I hope that made sense. I don't know if it did, but basically what we're gonna have to do is I have a text document here that I'm also gonna link to you guys in the description that you guys can use. That way you guys don't have to look for it yourself on the internet or something like that. But basically, these are all the music files that you need, or like the names of the music files that you need. Okay. If you want to change a specific song, this is what you have to name it as. Okay. In Wwise's case, they have to be labeled as these and then underscore music. Okay. So you see how I labeled each of these as, in this case, artisans underscore home, and then underscore music. Okay, so when you're making an event for these, they have to be labeled as underscore music, okay, for it to work. So these are not to be used until we get to Unreal Engine, okay, but use these by default, and then just copy and paste it in there, and then underscore music, and then you have your event, okay. And to add an event, you just click on default work unit here, and you click on this button. It says create new event, and it's gonna make a new one. And you can rename it, and make sure you name it, copy and paste it exactly as it is in that note file, then underscore music. Okay, so the reason I have so many here is because I'm the creator of the complete OST restoration mod, and that required me to basically change every song in the game. Okay, so this is why I have all these crazy music files in here. Okay, so all of these events. So here's the thing with events, guys. Okay, so once you make one. Once you make it, you copy and pasted the name, underscore music, right? Once you click on it, you're gonna have this event editor on the right side here, okay? And by default, it's gonna be empty. What we need to do is we gotta place our music file in here. So those sound banks that we made earlier, this is where we drag those to, okay? So once we have our event editor open here, after we click on the event, you go to Audio tab again, and then whatever song that you had in here, the sound bank, you're just gonna click and drag it on here. Okay, so when you click it and drag it, it's gonna show up by default as play, and that's it. Congratulations, you just made you just put your sound file in an event, and that's step one. Okay, there's multiple steps for this, so just bear with me. It's kind of a lot. So once you get that in there, you notice that it says play. Okay, so the way Reignited works with its sound cues, or when it knows to play songs, it needs to show play in order for the song to actually play. Okay, so if I were to scroll through these events that I've made, you see how each of these have the different sounds that I made, and they all say play on it. Okay, so that means that as soon as that event in the game happens, that song is gonna play. Honestly, that's it. If you just wanted to do that for Spyro 1, then that's all you need to do. You just click and drag it on there, and that's it. And then you do the next steps that I'm going to explain later. Here's where it gets a little complicated. Okay, so for Spyro 2 and 3, there are select songs that only play with certain game events, and some of these include the Hula Girl Rescue music in Idle Springs. Okay, you notice how there's not only just a play thing here, but also a stop function. This took me a very long time to get right. Okay, let me just tell you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna at some point in this video, I'm gonna scroll through all these so you guys know exactly how to set it up in order for it to work properly in game. Without these, it's not gonna work correctly. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. So in order for this to work, if you wanted to change Idle Springs' music, you can do that. Okay, but the problem is if you change Idle Springs music, you're no longer gonna have that Hula Girl music once you get to that point in the game, because the sound bank for that section has both the Hula Girl music and Idle Springs. So if you don't have another song within that part where the Hula Girl music starts playing, it's gonna be just like silence. Like nothing's gonna play. Okay, so that's the only tricky part. Okay, especially with the levels that have multiple gaming events. So The main ones, I'm just going to go through them real quick just so you guys can see. But basically, in this scenario for the Hula Girl dance, obviously, if I were to set Idle Springs as play, or just simply put the Hula Girl dance music here and not Idle Springs, what's going to happen is when I get to that point in the game, Idle Springs is still going to keep playing, and then the Hula Girl music's going to keep playing too. Like, it's going to start playing while Idle Springs is still playing, so we don't want that, right? So in order for that to stop, you have to add Idle Springs into this event and then mark it as stop. So that way when the Hula Girl music starts playing, that's the only thing that plays. It's going to stop Idle Springs, it's going to play this. Here's the thing with Reignited. Reignited's very glitchy, okay? There are some events here that I couldn't fix, and because of the game's terrible coding with this, some of this stuff, sometimes, like just to name an example here, the Let's Play hockey music, right? I've tried every combination possible on trying to get this to work, and it just doesn't, okay? So, but this is the only example that I can think of where the music just doesn't play at all when I try to put it in with something else. But basically, you see here I put stop Colossus and then play the hockey music, right? But when I put that in the game, it doesn't work. And that's the only level in the game where that does that. Where there's a game event that I put music for and it just doesn't play the music event song. So for the Complete OST mod that I made, that's the only song in the game that just doesn't play. It just keeps playing Colossus. That has to be a glitch in the game's coding because I set this up exactly how I set up the Hula Girl music. I even tried putting stop at the top here to see if that worked or did anything, and it didn't. So yeah, so that's it, guys. So I'm gonna go through some of them that are very tricky, just so you guys can have a feel for it. You see how Career Towers is just play, Crush the Dungeon just play, Ocean Speedway, because they don't have gaming events, right? But for something like Skilos Badlands, check this out. There's like a bunch of them. This is also another glitch in the game's coding that I couldn't figure out. So basically, the Bones music, the Bones dance music, what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to stop Skilos Badlands, right? And it's supposed to play the Bone dance, right? The problem is when I do that in the game, it does stop the Skilos Badlands and it does play the Bone music, but 15 seconds after Idle Springs starts playing again, I'm sorry, Idle Springs, 15 seconds after Skilos Badlands starts playing again, it just repeats Skilos Badlands to the beginning and keeps playing. And I'm like, but why? Why doesn't it just continue playing Skilos Badlands? Why does it repeat to the beginning again? It's like an endless loop. And there's no fix for that because that's a glitch in the game's coding and I can't figure it out, right? So, but like I said, the Bone music and the Play Hockey music are the only glitches that I've found with this. So just bear that in mind when you guys are putting in different music for stuff like this. But for everything else, you see here how this stop at the top here, just ignore this. I only did this because I was testing to see what could work to get the Bones dance music and Skilos Badlands playing properly and whatever. But initially, you'll just have play here, stop, and stop for save caveman and save caveman again. Okay, so you need these two. Okay, because once you get to that save the caveman section, if you don't have these, then what's gonna happen is you won't have music in those sections, obviously. But if you were to try to replace this with something else, you got to make sure that it says stop. Just follow these exactly how they're labeled, okay? I'm just going to go through them so that you guys can see. So that if you guys get to it, then you'll know how to do it. So yes, here for example, Breeze Harbor, right? When the Harbor Trolley music starts playing, I want Breeze Harbor to stop, and I want the Harbor Trolley music to play, okay? And Breeze Harbor's own thing, once I get off the Harbor Trolley, I'm going to have that song stop and then Breeze Harbor start playing again. Okay, so I know this is like kind of complicated, but just bear with me, guys, that this is what it needs to be for all of them. Okay, or at least the ones that have different gaming events and stuff. Fracture Hills has like a play thing. I don't know what that's for, honestly. I think it's because once you get into a new area, it'll start playing, it'll continuously play the song. I don't remember which area exactly this is for, but I have it in here because it's part of the game's coding. What else? The Satyr Rescue music. So as soon as you rescue a Satyr, it's going to stop Fracture Hills music and it's going to play the bagpipes. Well, I have it set up like this because for a certain reason. I think it was something in the game's coding that I had to fix. I needed to put stop here for Fracture Hills in order for it to loop properly. Okay, so yeah, guys, just follow exactly how it's set up here. That way there's no crazy looping issues or crazy audio issues. Like I said, you can click on this to choose whether to play or stop. Don't click stop all. I've never used that before, so you guys shouldn't either, right? Make sure it's correctly set to global. Make sure it's not game object for the stops, okay? Unless it says so in one of these that I've put in here, but for the most part, they're all global, okay? If you put game object, it's not gonna stop the song, okay? Just telling you that right now. Yeah, so here's some of the main ones. The Crystal Popcorn music. This is how it goes. This is how it looks, right? What else? Mystic. No, Cloud Temples right here. So Agent Zero, Agent Zero's music. This is how it looks like. Spyro 3 is the most complicated case ever. Okay, so here's the thing. This is how they're supposed to look. Stop, play, stop. Okay, stop, play for Sunny Villa, stop for Sheila's Alp. Okay, make sure these are global, and that's it. Okay, for the Sheila area, if you want to change that, stop, play, stop. Stop, play for Sheila's Alp, stop for Sunny Villa. Okay, it has to be set up like this because there's a glitch where, well, I had a glitch where once I died within one of those Sheila areas or any character-specific area in any of those levels, what'll happen is the music will restart from the beginning again. And if you don't have it set to stop for Sheila's Alp, what's going to happen is it's going to play Sheila's Alp on top of Sheila's Alp. Okay? And then you'll have two songs playing on top of each other at different intervals, and it's awful. It's terrible. Okay? So make sure there's a stop here for Sheila's Alp, and then play it. The stop has to be at the top. Okay? It can't be in the second one. It has to be in this exact order, and it has to be set to global. Okay? So, and that's for all the character-specific areas. And then same came, Rain Cloud Awakens, same thing. Sergeant Bird's level, stop, play, stop. You see how I did that? And same thing for the Molten Crater default. Okay, stop, play, stop. And then for the Speedway levels, they have these different events that all have to be in there. Okay, so in this case, I put stop, play for each of them, and with the exception of the play one. The play one, I just put a play thing. Okay, but these have to be like this. All right. And then for Enchanted Towers, it's this one, stop, play, stop for the skate park music, play and stop for the Mr. Bones, okay, Sergeant Bird, stop, play, Lost Wolf and skateboarding music, play, stop, okay. Like I said, guys, I'm just going to go through these real quick just so you guys can see. So you guys can pause at any point in the video just to see how these things look, okay, because it's very complicated. For the Sparks levels, I think each individual level requires its own music file. I could be wrong about that, because even at the bottom here, I do have a Sparks Realms music, because that was also part of the original game's files when you extract them. And I also had a song play for this one. But I did this just in case. I don't even think I need this, but you should do it too if you're changing the music in the Sparks levels. This is not a typo. With the Crystal Islands Bentley, in the game's actual files, they misspelled Crystal Islands here for Bentley's section. It's kind of funny, okay? So make sure this is spelled Crystal Islands _ Bentley if you want to change Bentley's music, okay? And this is how it goes. Stop, play, stop. Same thing. And what else? Gotta make sure I show you guys all the ones that are super important, in the case you guys want to change it yourself. And that's it. Okay. So, now that you got the event, and you have the music file in there, and you have the right formatting type, when to play, when to stop, make sure that it's set to global if you set it to stop, right? What you're going to want to do is, you're going to want to go to Layouts and go to Sound Bank. And then from here, you can click and drag. You should have an event viewer on the left side here. Okay, if you don't, just make sure that you click on that tab. Hey guys, this is post-recording Waldy, and I completely forgot about the sound bank thing, about you guys generating your sound bank using Wwise. A super critical step, and by super critical I mean like super critical. Okay, so this part of the video where I was talking about the dragging your events in here and making all that stuff, okay, I missed a crucial point. Okay, and what you need to do is you need to make a master sound file here. Okay, and within that master sound file, you're able to then drag your events to that master sound file, and that's how it generates your bank within. The bank is what contains all your events. Okay, so in this scenario, what you'll have to do is you have to click on default work unit and then hit new, and then this is where you're going to name your new sound bank. Okay, so how it's going to work is you use that text document that I mentioned before, which is this. So whatever song you're changing, you're going to copy that, and then you're going to paste it here, and then you're going to put it as _bank. Okay, let me copy it and see. Hold on. Copy this, and I'm going to paste it in here, and it's going to be called that _bank. Okay, it has to be like that for all the other levels that you're changing the music for. Okay, so but yeah, I don't know why I didn't mention that before, but that's how you do that. Okay, so make sure you make a new master sound file for that, name it what's listed in the text document _bank, and then from there you can take your events for that level and just drag it onto the master sound file. Okay, and then that's how you make your bank. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to change one with multiple events, for example, the one of the Speedway levels, like Harbor Speedway, for example, right here. Harbor Speedway has 1, 2, 3, 4 events. So I have to click and drag all 4 of those events into Harbor Speedway's bank file, or the master bank file that I make for Harbor Speedway. If I don't do this, then, or if, for example, if I only put like the music one, which is this one in there, then all those other events within the game aren't going to have music. It's only going to play music when you hit play after talking to Sparks and stuff. So make sure you guys do that. I don't know why I didn't mention that in the video. That's kind of important. So I'm just going to cut that chunk of the video out and see if I could splice it in a good stopping point. But yeah, so that's how you guys do that. You just click on new here. You generate a new sound bank. You're going to name it what's listed in the text document _bank. And then from there, you're going to click and drag your events that are associated with that level onto the master bank file, and then you're going to hit generate. Okay, and that's how you get those. So sorry about that, guys. Let's continue on with the video. And then once you do that, you're able to click on which ones you want to generate a sound bank for. Okay, so if all of these don't say bank _bank, then there's an issue. Okay, because that's what we're doing. We're generating sound bank files to then use within Unreal Engine. Okay, so after you do that, you're going to hit generate here, and it's going to generate your sound bank files. I'm going to show you guys later where you can find that once we get to the packing stage. But yeah, so that's how you do that using Wwise. Okay, so now let's move on to Unreal Engine. So in Unreal Engine, once you get Wwise integrated with your project, you should have a sound content folder along with a music folder. At least you should anyway. If you don't have a music folder, then you just make one. Okay, so you right click, and then you make that folder, right? And then within that folder, you're gonna make another folder. Okay, if you want to make a folder within a folder, okay, so like for example, if I just made this music file, I'm gonna click on that, right? And then within that music file on the right here, I'm gonna right click and click new folder, and that'll create another sub level basically. Okay, this has to be laid out exactly how it looks here. Okay, so music file under sound content, levels within the music file, and then within levels you have to make a folder for all the ones that are listed in that text document. Okay, all of this, well, for whatever level that you're changing anyway. I only did it for all of them because that's what my mod required. I had to change the music for all the stages, right? But whatever stage you're changing the file for, the folder has to be named one of these. Okay, so make sure your folder is named exactly like this. Okay, and then once you make that folder, you're gonna go to that folder by clicking on the left here, and then you see here there's 2 files here that we need to make. Okay, it's a bank file and an event file. They're both audio kinetic. So if I were to right click here, I'll scroll down to audio kinetic, and then I'm gonna make an audio kinetic bank and an audio kinetic event. Okay, so you need both of these in order for this to work. Okay, if you don't see audio kinetic here, then that means your integration with Wwise didn't succeed. Okay, that's the only way to get this audio kinetic option to show up, is if you properly integrated this project with Wwise. Okay, so make sure within the Wwise launcher that it says it doesn't say integrate Wwise into project, because if it still says that, then that means it's not integrated yet. Okay, so but yeah, once you do that, you're gonna make these 2 files, and to make one, you're just gonna right click, you're gonna hit audio kinetic bank. Actually, let me erase these so I can show you guys how that works. Okay, so let me delete these real quick. I'm not gonna save this, obviously, right? But let's say I wanted to change the song for Artisan Home, right? So I'm gonna go to audio kinetic bank. I'm gonna copy the Well, what I should have done was copied it beforehand, right? So make sure you copy this first before you even make an audio kinetic bank, okay? So, because that's what'll happen. Okay, so you're gonna want to rename that if it does that. Rename, okay? And copy paste. What you're gonna do is you're gonna do underscore bank, okay? And there you go. You made a bank file for that. Once you do that, you're gonna make an audio kinetic and then an event, okay? You're gonna paste that same thing, but you're gonna put underscore music. Okay, that's it. So like once you have these two, they're both gonna have an asterisk on the bottom left. What that means is that you need to save them. Okay, so you gotta make sure these are saved. So if you double click on, say, this bank here, just hit save on the top left. That's all you have to do for those bank files. Okay, so once you hit save there, you're gonna go to audio kinetic event. You're gonna double click on that, and then you're gonna search for that bank file that you just saved. Okay, so in this case, it's artisan's home underscore bank. So in here I'm going to type artisan's home underscore bank. It's this one. Okay, so I'm going to associate that event, that music file with this bank. So I'm going to click on that and then I'm going to hit save, and then that's it. Now I have it saved to that. Okay, and then once you guys do that, you're going to go up to file, you're going to hit cook content for Windows, and what that's going to do is it's going to create Unreal Engine assets to use within the game. So that way it'll properly get the bank file that you also created in Wwise. Those are the two main things you need when putting music in Reignited Trilogy. You need the Unreal Engine assets, which you do from here. You make the bank file, you save it, make the underscore music file, you save that with, you associate it with the bank file that you made, and then you hit file, cook content from Windows. Okay. Like I said before, guys, this has to be in the exact same level structure that you see here. Otherwise, it will not work. And it has to be these exact same names that are in that text file. Otherwise, it will not work, like I said. But yeah, so that's how you do that, guys. Once you guys hit cook content from Windows, it's going to say cooking completed on the bottom right here. You'll hear like a little sound. And then once you do that, you're going to go to your documents. Let me see if there's... Hold on. Let's see, go to, you're going to go to Unreal Engine, Unreal Projects, okay? You're going to go to your Unreal project, whatever it was, right? And then you're going to go to, I think it's Spyro Wwise project. Okay, so there's two folders that are important here, okay? So it's the Spyro underscore Wwise project. That's where all our sound banks were made. When we did it in Wwise and we hit generate, this is where they're stored in. So once you go there, you double click on that, you go to generated sound banks, go to Windows, and there they are. All the bank files that we did in Wwise are within here. Okay. Now to get to those assets from earlier that I talked about, you have to go to saved, which is right here. You go to cooked, Windows no editor, the name of your project, I think. Yep, name of your project, go to plugins, sound, content, music, levels. Here they are, okay? And that's where they'll be stored in. If I were to click on these, this is what they look like. These are the assets we need. So once you have these two things, once you have those sound banks and these level folders for the Unreal Engine assets, we need to put that in a pack, basically, okay? So there's this thing called U4 pack, okay? I'm going to link that in the description so you guys can have it. And it'll basically look like this. It'll come with a pack.command file and a .exe file. Basically, now what we're going to want to do here is we're going to try to replicate that same folder structure within Spyro Reignited, so that way we can pack that file into a mod. Make sure you make a workspace folder where you can do this in, and put those files within that folder, okay? And now within that workspace folder, you're going to make a folder named Falcon, okay? Within Falcon are these two folders, content and plugins, okay? Within content is Wwise audio. Within Wwise audio is Windows. Within Windows, it's all your bank files that you made in Wwise, okay? So you throw all those in there. When I go back for a second, now in your plugins folder is sound, content, music, levels, and here you go. So all those folders that you made from the Unreal Engine for the assets, those folders you're going to click and drag in there. Okay, so there are two things you need. You need these level assets and the sound bank files that you made in Wwise, which are in content, Wwise audio, Windows, and here you go. Okay, so And that's it. So once you have that in the exact folder structure with the exact same wording, with the exact same everything, okay, make sure you guys have this organized exactly how it looks here, okay. You're gonna go back to this and you're gonna click on this command window, okay. So once you double click on this, it's gonna start generating a pack file which you can then use within Spyro Reignited Trilogy, okay. Now you might be wondering, how do I put the mod in the game or to test it out, right? So there's this thing called Spyro Mod Manager, okay, and it's the most useful thing in the world ever, okay. It basically organizes your mods. You can add the mods in here by clicking this. You can choose where it is. In this case, I have my OG OST Restore. This is the complete sound restoration mod that I made. You open that, you give it a name, and you can move them up and down to put priority on which ones, right? And you can hit enable, disable. It's really cool, actually. So if you guys don't use this, I don't know what you're doing, right? But it might be outdated because some people are using like some other mods that people have made to better organize things, but I'm old-fashioned. I don't know. This works for me, so just do whatever works for you, I guess. Once you get that pack chunk file, it's going to be, once you click on this command window, it's going to take some time depending on how big the file is. In my case, every time I do this for my complete OST mod, it takes like 3 minutes, maybe, because it's like a 3 GB file size. But if you're only doing one song, it shouldn't take more than a minute or something, okay? So once it finishes, it'll show up right here in the same workspace folder. It's going to be labeled as packchunk3 _ no name, whatever, right? So that pack chunk file is your new song, okay? So that's it. So if you go to the mod manager here, you can just hit add mod and then add it on here, enable it, and then when you hit play Spyro, that's it. You should have the new song now, okay, in there. What's good about doing it with this method, guys, is your songs don't have to be a certain length, like at all. Okay, which is awesome. Before there was like a .wem method where you needed to get songs that were the exact same length as they are in the game, because if you don't, then it'll stop at the loop point and it'll just restart the song from the beginning without it finishing. Okay, if you do it with this method, you don't have to worry about the length of the song. Okay, for example, I have One Winged Angel here. This song is 7 minutes. Okay, so I can put this in Sorceress's Lair or something crazy like that, and it'll play it completely and then re-loop. Okay, and another thing, super important, guys. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't mention this before. Make sure that when you put your audio files in here, that when you click on it over here where it says loop, get that baby checked, please. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I didn't remember to say that earlier, but please have this checked to loop infinite. Okay, loop infinite. Make sure you have that for all your music files, otherwise they won't loop in the game and they'll just stop playing after they finish, and that's very scary. You don't want that. Okay, so loop infinite. Okay, and also depending on how loud your music file is, if it's standard like regular music loudness or whatever, it might be a little bit too loud in the game. So what I like to do is I like to keep these at -8 or -6 or negative whatever, right? You can change the volume of that sound file within Wwise, and you have to do this before you generate those sound banks. Okay, I really should have mentioned this earlier. Sorry, guys. I'm just like all over the place with this tutorial. Hopefully, it still helps anyway. But yeah, so make sure your volume set to where you need to be. I would say like -8 to be safe. That sounds like a good amount, I think. And then set the loop point to infinite. Okay, otherwise they won't loop properly. But yeah, so make sure you do that and then generate the sound banks, because otherwise it won't work. Okay. But then yeah, so then that's it, guys. That's how you do that. Hopefully it wasn't too complicated. Hopefully you guys can figure it out on your own without needing any more details, because honestly, like, that's it. Like, there's not much else that goes into it. If you guys want, I can show you an example here how to do this. Like, let me just put a song in. Why not, right? Open my project. Okay. Let's say I wanted to change the song for I don't know, Sorceress's Lair. Okay. So let's say hypothetically that I already made this sound thing. If you guys want to replace the song that you might have put in by accident, or you just want to change it or something, over here, this is where your music's stored. So you just hit delete, and that's it. Now it's red again. Okay, so in my case, I want to add friggin' One Winged Angel. Okay, so I'm gonna open up that audio converter that I used before, just so you guys can see how that looks. I haven't used it in a while, so just bear with me. I'm just gonna click and drag it on here, and make sure on the top right it's listed as .wav file. Okay, and then I don't know where this thing's outputting to. If you want to know, oh, here you go. So click on the settings button, set output folder. This is where it is. I don't know why I have it in my videos folder. That's so weird. But yeah, so you hit convert now. Depending on how long it is, it might take a second, it might take 2 seconds, but there you go. One Winged Angel is now a WAV file. Okay. Yeah, so this is stored in my videos folder. So let me go get that. So right click, import audio files, add files. Let me see. I have this in videos, right? Going to any audio converter, wave files, and One Winged Angel. Here we go. So I'm gonna get that in there and hit import. Depending on how long the song is, it might take a second. There you go. So there you go. Now I have sources layer. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the events. I'm gonna click on this, create the new event, right? I'm gonna name it sorcerers is exactly how it's labeled in the text file. Okay, so in this case it's this underscore music. Okay, and then in my audio I'm gonna click and drag sorcerers layer onto this. Okay, and it's gonna be on play, and that's it basically. Okay, so once I do that, I'm gonna go to layout, sound bank. I'm gonna click and drag my event on the left. In this case, sorcerers layer into here, if it's not already on here, right? In this case, mine is, because I've done this a million times. And then I'm going to select the one I want to change, which is Sorcerer's Lair. In this case, I already have banks generated for these. So what's going to happen is it's going to say, it's going to update that bank file to reflect what I'm changing it to. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to check that, and I hit generate here. And then, boom, there you go. So it's going to say, created, yes. Okay, so if it says up to date, that means you didn't change anything about it. Okay, but if it says yes, that means you overwrote it to something new. Okay, which is great. So now that I overwrote that, I'm gonna go to Unreal Engine. I'm gonna open this up again. I don't know why I keep closing this. It's like, shouldn't be that complicated. Here we go. And then I'm gonna scroll down to where I have my Sorcerer's Lair. So I'm gonna make sure the folder structure is exactly how it's listed. So it's going to be a music folder. Within that music folder, levels. Within that levels folder, whatever level I want to change, which in this case is Sorcerer's Lair, it's going to be named like this. And within that folder, I'm going to make a bank file and a I'm sorry, I'm going to make an audio kinetic bank and an audio kinetic event. Okay. So in this case, anytime that you guys update your bank file, you have to update the assets in Unreal Engine too. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is it's just going to play the same song that you had before, or it's not going to play any music at all. So you can imagine how stressful it is when I have to update my complete mod and I have to change every single one of these assets. I have to delete this, make a new bank, make a new music event, delete bank, make a new bank. Like I do that for all of these, right? So. But you guys shouldn't have to do that because hopefully you guys are just doing it for some songs, right? Like not every level in the game like I had to do. So yeah, let me go back to Sorcerer's Lair. I already deleted those. But audio kinetic bank. Didn't do what I should have done. I should have go to the text file, make sure I have this copied before I make this, otherwise that'll happen. Okay, so go to rename underscore bank. Boom. And then go to kinetic event underscore music. Okay, so make sure you save that bank. Make sure you set this event to that bank that you just made. Okay, so in this case it's Sorcerer's Lair. Hit save, and that's it. So now you're gonna cook it. Okay, so once you cook it, you're gonna go to File, Cook Content for Windows. Now, because I have a bunch of folder structures here, it's gonna cook all of this, okay, not just Sorcerer's Lair. So, so your time for it to cook is gonna vary. So let me just do that real quick. See, there you go, cooking content for Windows. Okay, so in this case, it might take for me like maybe another 10-20 seconds or something like that because I have all the folders in there, right? So, but in my case, I don't have to worry about anything overwriting over itself because they're all the same. The only thing I changed was Sorcerer's Lair. So in this case, cooking completed. That's it. So now you have your assets for Unreal Engine. And once you do that, you just X here. And now you have to find those files, okay, that you just made. Okay, so let me Let me go back to where I was. So you're gonna go into your documents. Let's go back to my document. Okay, you're gonna go Unreal Projects. The name of your project folder. Okay. Go to Spyro_Wwise project. Generated sound banks, Windows, and find the sound bank that you made. So in my case, it is right here. So a good way to check if it's the one you just updated is check the date modified. You see this one was made like 4 minutes ago, so I know that's that one. Okay, so I'm going to select that. And what I'm going to do is let me make a separate workspace folder just so I can show you guys how it looks from scratch, right? Oops. No. Don't want that. W space, right? W paste, sure. Let's do with that. So you're gonna make a random folder, right? And then you're gonna put those U4 packed files within that folder. So you just copy paste them. And there you go. So within that folder, you're gonna want this folder structure. Okay. So let me make that folder structure in front of your guys' eyes so you guys can see it. So you're gonna make Falcon. Within Falcon is content and plugins. Content folder plugins. You gotta make sure everything's spelled correctly, guys, otherwise it won't work. Content. Within content is Wwise audio. Wwise audio. Within Wwise audio is Windows. Windows. And then within Windows, that's where you store your bank files. So in this case, this is what I'm going to do. Don't, very quick, don't click and drag it on here because it's probably going to just move it, and you don't want that. You want this to stay here, okay? If you guys are limited on storage space, make space, okay? Because you need this stored here, okay? I mean, if you want to move it, you can, but I prefer to have them all here so that way I can just go back and forth between them and stuff. But in my case, just copy it and then paste your bank file in there. There you go. Okay, let's go back to the plugins folder. Within plugins is sound. Sound. Within sound is content. Within content is music. Music. Within music is levels. And within that levels folder, that's where you're going to be putting all your generated Unreal Engine assets. Okay, so I'm going to go to saved here, cooked, there's no editor, Spyro, I can't remember, plugins, sound, content, music, levels. Here you go. Okay, so it's going to be listed in here. So in my case, I changed sources layer, so I'm going to copy that. Same thing, copy and paste. Don't just drag it in there because that's not good. There you go. So, and that's it. So now that you have both of those things in there, you're going to click on this command and it's going to pack it for you. Okay, so that's what the command looks like. And boom, that was quick because there was only one song. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. You can name this whatever you want as long as you don't change the extension on the end there, obviously. But so yeah, let me name this. What should I name this? That's not how you spell sorcerer, is it? Okay, well, that's what I'm gonna name it as. Okay, so alright, so now that I have that, I'm gonna open my Spyro mod thing. If you guys decide not to use the mod manager, let me just show you how it looks like with just throwing in the mod in the game's files. Okay, I'm trying to remember where I had Spyro installed in here. Right here. Okay, so this is what it's gonna look like initially. Okay, this is what the folders are supposed to look like. So I think it's in, what folder is it? Right here. Okay, so it's gonna be in Falcon, content, packs, and then you need a mods folder. Okay, so just name it squiggly line, I forgot what that thing's called, mods. Click on that folder and you can just drag all your mods in here. It's that easy, guys. That's how you add mods to Reignited. It's super simple. Thankfully, with Unreal Engine, the modability of Unreal Engine is super easy, so that's all you have to do. But yeah, so, and that's it. So if you don't want to use this mod manager, this is where you'd put the mods, okay? So just make a mods folder, throw it in there, okay? And that's it. That's all you need. It doesn't. You don't have to click on anything or whatever, right? So, but yeah. So let me show you guys this example. So I'm gonna use this editor here. I'm gonna disable my music mod that I had already, and make sure, guys, if you want to use two music mods at once, or if you use two of them, make sure that they don't replace the same songs of the same level, right? So like if I've had two mods of like, for example, if I had my complete OST mod, which replaces every song in the game, and I had another mod that only replaces like High Caves or something like that, then what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a whole mess. Okay, so like there can't be an overwrite over an overwrite, basically. Okay, so in my case, I need to disable my complete OST mod before putting this custom mod that I just made for you guys in there, because otherwise, if I go to this sorcerer level, I don't think it's gonna do it correctly. Okay, so real quick, let me connect my PS4 controller. If you guys play with Xbox, you're doing it wrong. I'm just totally kidding. So you guys can play with whatever controller you want. But okay, so now I have my controller plugged in, I'm safe. So let me add the mod in here. Go to where your mod's located. In my case, it's in WPace. Okay, One Wing Sorcerer, and there you go. Okay, so I have it at the bottom. Make sure that if it's a music mod, guys, that you place it all the way to the top. Well, not all the way to the top, but basically like one of your first few mods, okay? Because that's like one of the first few things that the game loads up, basically, besides like all the font and some other assets, main menu assets and stuff like that. But yeah, so make sure that's at the top here, somewhere. Okay, and that includes your model mods too, if you guys have any of those. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm gonna hit enable, and that's it. So when I play this and I go to Sorcerer's Lair, it should play One Winged Angel. If it doesn't, then I'm sorry. Did all that tutorial for nothing. So let's hope that it does what I hope it does, and then you guys can see that. So gonna open up the game here. Hopefully the audio is not too loud, because I kind of adjusted it in OBS here, and I don't know what the audio levels are right now. So yeah. Okay, let's go to not this save file, obviously. Let's go to save file that has all of them. Okay, here we go. And okay, good. I'm already in Midnight Mountain here. Okay, hopefully it's not too loud or blaring or anything. Or I mean, I'm just hoping it plays at all, right? So, so we'll see.
Woohoo! Time to kick some sorcerer's butt.
There you go, guys. That's how you do it. Okay. Like I said before, make sure that you put your music files when you're making the sound banks in Wwise. Make sure it's set to -8 or -7. Those are the sweet spots that I've found anyway. So that way it's not too loud in game, because then the music will overshadow all the sound effects and stuff. So, I mean, we can just fight her, I guess, like with the music playing and stuff. So that'd be pretty cool. And it looped properly, which is great. That's what I wanted to hear. Okay, so now let's finish this, I guess. Give up. Down you go. That's it, guys. That's how you that's how you mod music into the game. It's pretty straightforward. Once you know how to do it, it's I mean, that's it, really. This tutorial was probably like really bad, like with my explaining of things, so I really apologize, because like I said, I haven't done this in ages on like how to get it set up properly, right? So yeah, but anyway, guys, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope that helps in the future when you guys are modding yourself, and take care. Have a good night.